Adjunct Professor Moran, Macroeconomics 111. In this session we're going to discuss fiscal policy, and this is how the government can manage the economy in times of recession, inflation, as well as stagflation. Fiscal policy is the use of government spending and taxing in order to achieve the economic goals of growth, low unemployment, and low inflation. In other words, we want the economy to come to rest at a full employment equilibrium. By law, the government has accepted responsibility for this, which is a rejection of classical economics, a small role for the government. All right, so now what is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is the use of government spending or taxes in order to achieve full employment. If you're in a recession, you'd want to increase government spending or decrease taxes, and that would expand GDP and restore us to full employment. If we're experiencing inflation, then the government will want to reduce spending by increasing taxes, leaving people with less money to spend, or decrease government spending directly. So, aggregate demand equals C plus IG plus G plus XN. If government spending increases, that will have the impact of increasing aggregate demand. And if you remember, personal income minus personal income taxes equals disposable income, which is then consumed or saved. So by lowering taxes, disposable income rises, and both consumption and savings will rise, which will then cause aggregate demand to rise again. Graphically, it would look like this. Short run aggregate supply, aggregate demand, price level, GDP. Perhaps this is GDP full employment. So we need aggregate demand to shift from here to aggregate demand sub FE. This would be GDP recession, price level recession, price level full employment. So when the government changes spending, it will push aggregate demand out somewhat, and then the multiplier takes it the rest of the way and would restore the economy to full employment. Right. Recessionary, a point where we would want to reduce GDP because of inflationary pressures would be if aggregate demand was beyond the full employment level, which is in the middle of the intermediate zone. GDP full employment. This would GDP inflation, and our goal would be to push aggregate demand backwards a little bit by either reducing government spending or increasing taxes, and then having the invisible hand take over and push us the rest of the way. And so here, aggregate demand equals C plus IG plus G plus XN. And so reducing government spending directly reduces aggregate demand. And personal income minus personal income taxes equals disposable income, which is then consumed or saved. By raising taxes, disposable income falls, which will both cause consumption and savings to fall. Fiscal policy.